Hail, Internet! It's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today talking about Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. Of course, a reference to the myth of Odysseus, the island of the Lotus Eaters, a place where once you consumed the native plants, you basically lost your memory and just desired to stay on the island. And obviously an appropriate analog for this episode. We open with Pike and Captain Patel trying to make some quality time for each other, even though both of them are captaining starships. Pike breaks it off with Patel, saying that he's not good for her career, and they never have time for each other anyway.
It's not her, it's him.
It's him. It's him. It's me. Pike then gets an order to go to Rigel 7. They had landed on that planet years earlier, fought with the locals. They lost 3 crew members and almost lost Spock, who was apparently grievously injured. And in their rush to leave the planet, they must have left some tech behind, because one of those Trekkie, that Delta symbol, can now be seen on the planet's surface. So it's prime directive time.
That's right. We don't like fans of this, Star Trek.
That's right.
Being in places that aren't, warp capable.
That's right. You got to pay us money for that. So we end with the crew back on the ship after their Rigel 7 adventures. Pike asks Patel to forgive him, having realized through the episode how important Patel is to him emotionally, and the two are reunited. Roll credits. Paul.
Yes.
What'd you think of episode 4?
I liked it. While it may not have been the best episode, in a way, it may have been my favorite episode, because I liked how everything played together. I liked how the story of Pike and the events that were happening where they were forgetting things played into the story of Ortegas, and Vega, I think there was a nice example with the Zach guy. People who get left behind, they can foster. It was like a little mini con in a way.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, that the villain turned out to be a crew member that got left behind. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, I loved this episode. I'll say that.
Ooh,
this is easily
right. Wow.
my favorite episode of the season. And perhaps not coincidentally, it's a Pike episode. No, which isn't exactly true, actually. Because it does also feature Lon, Dr. Mbenga, Spock.
So you're saying it could have used even more Pike. Okay, I understand.
More Pike.
I get it now.
Little extra Pike on that. Yeah. No, I really appreciated this episode's examination of memory, how it informs who we are, how much of ourselves is a product of memory. The old man, Luke, I think is his name, who looks after the crew members, and he's adapted to a life without memory.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I really like the culture that he established, and sort of like, here's what we do to try to live in the moment, which is, certainly a very, improv-y thing to do.
It is. You got to yes and it, but also by necessity. And admittedly, I found this episode especially poignant because I have a family member who's been suffering from Alzheimer's for a number of years. And seeing our characters struggle to deal with this sudden loss of memory in real time, it was pretty cathartic. I got to say, I was thinking about it the entire time.
Wow.
And, that's what great art, I think, can do, is that it presents you with an evocative work, and it lets you, the viewer, transfer your own lived experience into the art's meaning. And it did it. I was moved. I was moved by this this episode, I got to say. So hats off. The story was really good.
I need to interrogate why, because the moment that moved me was really Ortegas, who was like coming to the realization that I can do this. I am
Erica Ortegas. I fly the ship.
Yeah.
No, I love that scene because she's using, she's using repetition to try to hold on to that one part of her that's going to save the ship and her friends. I mean, that's great.
And help her, right? Because she was like, help me. And I really loved how she interacted with the ship, where it's like, here, follow these lights. And the ship is just like, here, I'll help you. I'll help you. That's all. I'm not going to, judge you for how you need to know the way. You don't understand what numbers mean. You don't know where anything is. Here you go.
Yep. Exactly. No, I totally agree. It felt organic to the world they're in, that she would call for help, and there's the computer. The computer's going to answer, and it's going to, basically in a non-emotional way, just tell her facts, and then she's going to be like, okay, okay, I fly the ship, got it. Okay, I know, that was great. It was really well done. It was smart, and I had a lot of good things to say about this generally. I mean, in one way too, though. This was almost like a horror film. I mean, it put the crew in tangible. How the hell are they going to get out of this danger? I mean, the crew on the planet has no idea who they are or what the Enterprise is, and the crew on the ship has no idea who they are or what the Enterprise is, and they're in an asteroid field. I mean, they couldn't have put them in more danger. That just felt like, how the hell do you write your way out of this trap? So but it did. I felt like, wow, this high stakes.
But
anyway,
the way that this really handled everything well is it even brought in humor well. With the guy saying, hey, when she's gone, you'll forget her. And she's like, hey, can we stop talking about me dying, please?
Right. Lon's like bleeding out. Yeah. Well, you're not going to know it, so it's fine. But yeah. So there is a lot to like about this episode. I was really, really impressed with it. Again, as you mentioned, the villain being this crew member, the fact that the palace enforced the hierarchy by being shielding the occupants from the radiation, so the people in charge have memories just from the fact that they're in the building.
Well, I think that was really powerful seeing the way Zach was laughing at him and and saying, "Oh, you fell for that thing. Oh, and he was, but to the point where Pike had enough. He was like, I have to fight for my, people I care about, and you're just laughing, and you know what? I'm gonna get it out of you.
Right. You feel like the apology in some ways did it, because obviously in that moment he had a few seconds, and then his memory came to him. But I think in that moment, maybe the apology kept former crew member alive. But it was intense, and you did feel like Pike may genuinely kill this guy, and then regret it as soon as he gets his memories back. And so
and I've heard some people. I've heard some people had a problem with that, unfortunately, and it's a standard. And I feel like it's a standard sort of character arc in a way, where you take the protagonist to a point where he would commit an
you justify
act.
Violence. I mean, it's kind of what a lot of Westerns are, right? You're like, look, I'll never touch a gun again. Well, we burned your farm and killed all your family. All right, fine, I'll shoot one more time. Like that kind of So they aren't happy with what the fact that he came that close to killing, or that he didn't do the killing.
Yeah, that he was really just beating him. There was really no point in how much he was hitting him, because he told him that he couldn't. What he wanted wasn't there, and they did tell him too that your memory will come back. So
that's a good point.
If he had just waited,
your memory's coming back. So can we hang on a sec? Maybe he didn't remember that he wouldn't remember. I don't know.
He forgot that he was going to remember.
No, that's a good point. There was some interesting stuff, because then he has to kind of analyze that about himself when he says, "Oh yeah, taking away the memories didn't take away who we were as people." And so I think he has to acknowledge that, I've got this part of me that had a little moral gray area there for a moment. So we, the bookend of this episode is the let's break up. Wait, you gave me this totem, and then during this time when I forgot everything else, I remembered that the person who gave me this totem was important to me. Let's get back together. So we know that the main obstacle to Pike having a meaningful relationship is his knowledge of his impending disfigurement. I mean, it's happening in a few years, maybe 10 years, less than 10 years.
Yes, we do.
And I don't think he shared that fate yet with Patel.
I think you're right.
I assume that conversation will take place, and I'm going to guess, I'm going to theory time it that it's probably happening this season. That he's going to lay it out like, look, here's why I have a hard time committing to people. Because I know I'm going to be an invalid at this point in history, and I don't want to put that on you. I mean, I feel like that's kind of where that might come from, yeah?
Interesting. I mean, well, okay, so not only is he's going to end up an invalid, but, I mean, if you don't see the woman that he winds up as the person he's supposed to be with, then, I'm not sure, that's not the way you construct a romance, is all I'm saying. So Pike is supposed to end up on a planet with that woman who is also disfigured or also has problems.
Right, eventually.
So they both, right, yeah. So what are they saying about this?
But that's many years later, but yeah.
Yeah, but...
I see what you're saying. Right. So in other words, hey, we're together, I got disfigured, you left me, and I was all alone.
Yeah.
And that was great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So to me, if I had to guess, I would say that later would come another reminder of what's coming, and he would have to ask himself if it's fair to submit her to that.
Right.
And then if you don't tell her, then you're making the decision for you. It's like that's the unfortunate part of this in a way. It's like the more they build this up, the more you have to wonder if they're gonna make drastic changes to the story or And it's the same with they're playing with fire too with Spock and Chapel. Because it's like okay, how much?
And we see in the trailer for the next episode, they're flirting again in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yes. So
yes. Yeah, and she's resisting her. Her desire for him.
It seems like it might even be a Chapel Spock episode because it seems like they're going to be going into some vortex where it's just going to be the two of them basically. So you're right. They're leaning into that pretty hard, and we know that from canon that relationship does not work out. So I mean, I do think that I guess my thought is with Captain Patel, they are trying to, I think, establish that these two have an intimate, committed relationship, and I feel like if they're going to do that, at some point, he can't keep that giant a secret from her, right? And so I feel like he's going to have to let her in on that secret, and that's why I'm thinking this season. I think by the end of the season he's going to do it. But there you go. It's just a thought.
I don't know, but then you have to carry it through. Then
Yeah, I know.
Are they going to change canon, or are they going to have it end? I
think it might spell the end for her character. Unfortunately, like I'm in it till the end. Ship explodes. Oh, that was the end. Oh, damn. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm interested to see how they deal with it because I do feel like this episode was, without saying it, was hinting at the fact that when Una's like, you have that problem, you can't commit, and you constantly find reasons to get away from relationships. I think the alert on that is because that your life is pretty finite in this moment, and you're wondering how to deal with that with a long-term relationship. So anyway, we'll just see. We'll see how that works, but. Sure. But it's interesting. This episode was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I look forward to episode 5. Any final thoughts, good sir?
No, I think I pretty much said all I wanted to say.
All right. So we'll be back talking about Strange New Worlds, talking about Secret Invasion, talking about the Lazarus Project. Thank you as always, Paul.
No problem.
Appreciate it. And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.
Bye.